Lunchtime Live. It is 2:05 Eastern Standard Time. I'm in New York City. I am Karen. If this is your first time watching one of my videos or joining me here live, then I just wanted to say hi and welcome. This is Karen, and my channel name is Runwright Reads, just in case you happened to land on my video without knowing too much about my channel. I usually post bookish content, but my life is more than just books. Not that there's ever anything called just books, but I do enjoy other things. So I focus on some of my other passions and hobbies and interests on my other platforms. I post a lot of short content on TikTok these days and Instagram. And I do include my bookish content there, but I usually post other things. I talk about journaling, I talk about walking and trying to get back into running and my family and so on. I post mostly shorter content over there. I'd like to start doing some lives on TikTok just because I'm trying to grow my following on TikTok so I can get monetized over there. And I think that's one of the ways that have been touted as being an easier way to gain followers and to meet new people, make new connections, is to go live on TikTok. But I don't ever want to abandon my family and my friends and my support group here on YouTube, so I do want to make this live series a real thing. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining. We are going to be talking books because I just found this package that the publisher sent to me in July. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Here's what I think happened. I think the package came in maybe on a weekend, and I said I was going to save it for when I could film a video, because I usually try to do an unboxing, especially when I get a package that looks like this. Get a package that looks like this. It's different. It's not just a manila envelope or a cardboard package. I know there's a book. I feel sometimes there is something else included. And so I usually try to do an unboxing. Just, the publishers, hi money. The publishers are kind enough to give me these books. I want to make sure that I let other people know about the books. So even before I get a chance to read it or have a first impression video to make, I like to do an unboxing. So sometimes when I get the packages, I can't do an unboxing right away, and I save the package for when I can film a video. And so somehow this package got lost since July. And how I know it's July, sometimes when the book is a newer release, on the package it will say that the person who they're sending the package to needs it by a specific date. So on here you could see it says needs to receive it by Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. It is now Tuesday, September. Is today the 9th? Today is way past July 23rd. So I am going to, in this video, open the package. I kind of already gave you a sneak peek of what it is, but I didn't look up what the book is about. So we're going to do that together. And we're going to have a little reading sprint because that's what we do in our lives. And I'm going to actually start reading this so I can do a little bit of a first impression discussion here on YouTube, but also on the other platforms. So thank you so much for joining, Moni and Just Another Day and Rosario. Thank you so much for being here. We are chatting books. Got this package from Penguin Random House. They were kind enough to give me this package. It got lost in the shuffle and I didn't see it until I was cleaning up the space where our packages come in just today. And so I found it and I was like, oh no! So here's the package. And when I open the books, when I open the packages, I usually try to let you see the package first. I usually try to let you see the contents first, because the publishers send me the books to share with you. And this is how I can share it with you. I can't. If I could do like a sisterhood of the traveling books where I'd read the book and send it to you for you to read it next, that would be great. But who would pay for the shipping? I don't know. So this is my way of sharing the books with you, sharing the experience of receiving the book. And later when I have gotten a chance to read the book and interact with the book, to make some kind of a response video, whether it's a review or a first impression or something. But I'm going to show you the book, and I'm going to close my eyes, because when I take it out and show it to you, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So here is the book. Here's the book. I feel like you're not seeing it. Are you seeing it? Is this the cover or is this the cover? This or this? Oh, it was this. You got it. So the title is My Train Leaves at 3 by Natalie Guerrero. So like I said, it is 2:10 in New York City, Eastern Standard Time. I'm on. I'm going to try to see how much of this book I can read before 3 o'clock. That's kind of cool, right? My train leaves at 3. My train does not leave at 3. I am not going on a train, but I do have some afternoon commitments. So this video, this whole live, I kind of need to wrap up by 3 o'clock. So I'm going to see how much of this I can read before 3. So we're going to have a reading sprint in maybe about 4 minutes. We read from 2:15 to say 2:30. So I would like to know what's going on with you guys. Do you guys buy books? Do you get books from the library? Do you read e-copies? Do you do audiobooks? I made a post on TikTok. I think it was on Sunday, where it's just a video of me doing something, and I said you could be reading right now if you thought audiobooks counted as reading. And of course, because that is just one of the most controversial topics, people were saying, don't you mean listening to audiobooks because you don't read an audiobook? And I was like, that's one way of thinking about it. But what do you guys think? Do you think audiobooks are reading? Audiobooks equal reading? Or are audiobooks a substitute for reading? I know there are people who think all the things about audiobooks. I personally don't consume a lot of audio content just because my mind wanders when I'm just listening to things. I grew up in Jamaica. I grew up at a time and place where we had the radio on all the time. My parents had the radio on in our house always. On the weekends, when we would kind of close things down and make things a little bit more religious as we observe the Sabbath, the radio would still be on, but it would be on different kind of music or different kind of background. But the radio was always on, and so I learned very early to kind of tune out background sounds, so I can read, I could study, I could do all the things with a noisy background or piped sound. So it's hard for me to just focus on the radio or just focus on a story being told and not let my mind wander or follow like a thought that comes up in the audiobook. It's hard for me to not go off on my own mental tangent when I'm listening to audio. What I did find was people have recommended that when you listen to the audiobook, you also use the physical text as an accompaniment. And I have found that is really, really helpful. Even if I'm not reading the entire book physically while I'm listening to the audio, it helps to kind of make me return to the story. It makes me return to the narrative. And so it helps me for my mind to not wander, to read both media at the same time, print as well as the audio. So that's how, generally, if I'm going to consume audiobooks, that's how I choose to do them, as an accompaniment to a physical text. Just the audiobook, I know why it is useful. I know why it is good for some people, but it is not my preferred media, just because, especially at night, if I am listening to just an audiobook, I'm going to fall asleep. Or I'm going to start thinking about other things, just kind of going through my day while the story is continuing in my ear. So audiobooks are not my preferred, but I know that they are for a lot of people. And so I respect that. And I completely think that reading an audio version is reading and should count as you having read the book. I don't know why that is still a question, but it is a very controversial topic. So, hi, Vern. I'm not sure if I should say your name. Hi, my cozy little library. Good to see you on here. So we are about to have a reading sprint. I know you join sometimes so you can read with us. So we're going to have a reading sprint. We're going to start just about now. I'm about to read a few pages of this. I just found it. The publisher sent it to me probably in July, may have even been earlier. I was supposed to have read it and said something about it weeks ago. So we're going to do that today. So this is what I'm going to be reading. Leave me in the comments what you're going to be reading today. And we're going to set a timer. Yesterday, I kind of goofed on the timer. I don't know what happened, but the timer moved from being a 15-minute timer to being a 25-minute timer, I think. And I got a lot of reading done. And I was going to put this on my computer, but you know what? My computer is not charged. My daughter uses my computer sometimes in the evenings, and she will, when it when it needs to be charged, is when she'll move to something else. Okay, 1 second. But we do have a charger accessible, so we are going to do that. We're going to set a timer. 15 minutes starting almost now. Leave me a note in the comments. Tell me what you're going to be reading for 15 or so minutes. So we got the timer set up. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Okay. We are on 15 minutes. I know my cozy little library, you'll be reading for school. I'm always so impressed that you're focused. All right. Now I feel terrible. So I'm sorry, before we start reading. This is a Caribbean author. I feel terrible. I should have been reading and promoting this book for the longest while. The author, Natalie Guerrero, is a Dominican and Puerto Rican writer based in Los Angeles. Okay, so now I'm going to have to redouble my efforts. Here's hoping I like the book. Let's see how I feel about the book first. All right, sorry. We're going to read now. Thank you for your message, Donna. Thank you for your prayers. You're going to be reading Dream Call by Adichie. I haven't heard too many people talk about it. It's on my list of books that I want to pick up sometime soon, but I haven't heard too much about it. So we'll definitely look forward to hearing your thoughts on that. But yeah, thank you so much for your prayers and your support. All right. We're going to read now. I interrupted you. I'm going to restart. 15 minutes starts now. Now, okay. Can you see it? Oh. Oh, about 3 more minutes. Ten seconds. I'm almost done with my chapter, so I'm just gonna finish. Sorry. So thoughts about this book. So I got to page 23. No, not bad, not bad. So our main character in this book is Xiomara. She is a Dominican woman, or Puerto Rican, Dominican. I guess maybe a similar background to the author. The author is Dominican and Puerto Rican. Xiomara, she is raised in Washington Heights, which made me think Dominican right away. But it says her mother is Puerto Rican. So maybe we haven't yet heard anything about her father. So maybe her father is Dominican. I don't know. In any case, we are going to say that Xiomara is Puerto Rican until we find anything else. Okay, so Xiomara, she's a young woman, young woman living in New York City, Washington Heights to be precise. And she lost her sister sometime, I think about a year prior to when we pick up the story. So she and her sister had dreams of her, of Xiomara being a famous singer or a successful singer. And her sister, Nena was going to be, I guess, the person who helps her because, you know, I think sometimes we are fed this idea that people become successful by themselves. And when you find out the story, you usually hear that it's everything but. You need to have people who support your dream for you to be able to realize your dream. So in this story, Xiomara has a talent for singing, but it is her sister who encourages her, who kind of talks her down from the wall when she thinks about giving up, and is trying to like she's the one who signs her up for auditions when Xiomara would be content just maybe procrastinating or maybe avoiding, I don't know. But while Nena believed in her, and the plan was for them to both pursue Xiomara's talent and see how far that could take them to financial success, commercial success, Nena passed away about a year before before the story opens. And so we're seeing how it's weighing on Xiomara. We're seeing how it's weighing on her mother and what their lives are like, just trying to cope with this loss. So Xiomara is working in a diner. It's called Ellen's Stardust Diner, and it seems to be somewhere in Midtown, Hell's Kitchen, I don't know, maybe Midtown, somewhere close to the tourist part, you know, the tourist centered part of Manhattan. And I feel like it's around the Theater District or Hell's Kitchen area, just because the people who are coming into the diner are coming from like Broadway or off-Broadway productions, and they want to see more of that. So Xiomara was hired in this diner because they do, I guess, like the wait staff do something that is musical while they are serving. So diners will probably pay more for the food if there's also entertainment, and of course they'll give them better tips if the performance is great. But Xiomara has lost her voice. Not that she can't talk, but she's having difficulty singing, especially singing like a solo. So she's not making good money. She's not making good tips. And so we're learning a little bit about that experience where she is working, but she's not being paid because she's not really, her heart is not in it, and she's not doing the thing that they would want her to do. So she and her mom are finding it difficult to just keep up with things. They're behind on their rent, and her bank account is overdrawn, and she's not making enough money to really change any of those situations because of her grief. I like that part of the story because I gravitate towards stories about women in transition, women becoming more of themselves, women overcoming personal or situational issues, and just realizing their potential, realizing their dreams. So this definitely feels like that story where we are poised to see this young woman break out of this confines, break out of the confines of her grief. Not that she'll ever get over losing her sister, but that she'll find a way to she'll find a way to just still do, because yeah, she might never move on, but she could still do more things. And so I want to see that. But one of the things that I have a difficulty with in books like this is when it starts with some graphic stuff that would instantly turn me off if I hadn't already decided that I wanted to read this book. So the very first page is a graphic description of a physical encounter with someone. And I know why sometimes these things are left in the book, or why they're why they're edited into the book, is to make you see just where our character is starting from. But in a book that is supposed to be about a young woman's growth, like, do we need a page, the first page, do we need the first page to be about her encounter with someone and seeing her like in the pits? I don't want to talk about the graphic stuff that's here. So what I would do, if I could, I would rip out these pages of the book. The first 3 pages, just the first 3 pages. The rest of the book is fine so far. But here is this young woman. Here's this young woman. And let me see. Yeah. We get the name of the man that she is with before we get her name. I don't like that. This is a book written by a woman. I'm assuming that this is written for a female audience. I want the book to be about her. Give me this encounter later as a flashback, or show me her at her job, or show me her with her mom, or show me her in a flashback with her sister, which is what comes next. Show me that first. I don't want this as the opener. I don't want this as the hook. It is something that bothers me about books like this. And I get why, maybe that's to give me a rise, give me a little bit of a reaction. But if I was browsing in my library or at a bookstore and I said I was going to read the first few pages of a book to decide whether or not I wanted to, continue with the book or buy the book, I may be tempted to DNF or just to discontinue perusing this book just based on the first 2 or 3 pages. Because I don't want to read that as the opener. I don't want a book that is supposed to be about a woman and showing where she's going and me being invested in her journey. I don't want it to be framed with such a male gaze that the man's name comes first. In the first paragraph, her name isn't mentioned. Her name is only given to us when the man says it. And it's how page 2 starts. Well, page 4 is the second page, but the page numbered. The numbered pages start on page 3. So the second page is page 4. And her name is Xiomara, and it says Xiomara, Rory, another word, but says my name. I want Xiomara to be strong. I want her to be her own person from the beginning. And I guess you have to show me who she is in relation to a man, so you can show me her in relationship to herself and show me her, in her rise and in her power, maybe. But I don't agree. I don't agree. I want her story from her perspective from the beginning. I want that scene with her facing off with her boss in the diner. I want that as the beginning, because it is her in that scene, which is I think very very meaningful, because we see her pursuing a job that we know we know that that's not her passion. We know that that's not what she necessarily wants to do. She does want to perform for people, but she wants to do it on her own terms. She would like to be on Broadway. She would like to be a big star, have her name in lights. But right now she's working, singing a lot of the same kinds of songs, but for a much smaller audience with absolutely no chance of publicity. Well, maybe, because maybe the producers would come to the diner and, there's a chance that she could be discovered. Maybe. But just in case you're joining us now, this is the book I'm talking about. Yeah, I think that situation would be ripe for a beginning of a book, because you could show me her in this place where she's not quite living her dream, she's not yet fulfilling her potential, but we see her taking the barest first step toward it by working in this place. She is still, maybe she's not singing a solo, but she's singing chorus. Maybe she's not being and doing everything that she should, but at least she's doing something. This is her taking care of her finances. This is her contributing to her family. And she's squaring off with her boss. She is confronting authority and still asserting who she is. I think that is a strong enough beginning. Am I a feminist? I just don't want the first time we meet her to be in a compromising situation with a man. And I'm not against situations. I'm not against compromising situations with men, but I don't want that to be how this book starts. So that is my personal gripe about this book so far. But aside from that, I'm liking the writing. Like I said, if I could just rip out those 3 pages and maybe put them someplace later in the book, that would have been fine with me. But I don't like that as the beginning. Aside from that, I like that we get a little bit of a glimpse into Xiomara's youth, where she is growing up in Washington Heights, surrounded by Caribbean culture and Caribbean Latina culture. And that even though she has that as her background, she is still, for herself, trying to be American, whatever that is in our minds when we think that we want to integrate and assimilate. Who we want to sometimes reject our background. We want to reject our heritage and take on more of the things that we think will make us completely integrated. And so I like seeing that even though her mother was born in Puerto Rico, they don't speak Spanish in the home. So she's grown up speaking English, and so she has a difficulty communicating sometimes with the people who have very similar background to her. But all of these various people are on their own journey of integration and assimilation. And so how much of your original culture do you retain as you try to take on more American tendencies? I really like that in books. This is why I am here for books about immigrants. I'm here for books about Caribbean culture, but on a wider scheme, a wider frame. I'm always looking for books about people from other places, immigrant stories, people, why they leave, what kind of lives they build, what kind of families they build in their new home country or home environment, and what it's like as their children try to marry those two influences. So this is going to be, I'm gonna continue reading. I hope my discussion about the first few pages don't turn you off. I think this is gonna be a good read because I think the writing is good. So I'm gonna do another reading sprint. It is 2:49. I'm gonna say another 15 minutes, which will get us to 3:05. And then after that, I'm going to have to go. But I so enjoy being here with you guys and doing a little bit of our lunchtime reading together. So if you just joined, let me know in the comments what you're reading. Yeah. There is, Donna left a message about agreeing with my thoughts on the graphic encounters as an opening to the book. Like, it shows you the characters in ways that you don't necessarily want to be intimate with the characters yet, because you haven't yet figured out who they are, what their motives are, what the story is even going to be about, and you first see them literally exposed. So yeah, thank you so much for your comments. So if you are just joining, if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up for the live. Thank you so much for being here. Let me know in the comments what you're going to be reading. I'm going to set the timer for another 15 minutes and we're going to start reading. So 15 minutes starts now. I'm continuing this. Sometimes I switch it up, but I want to see if this continues to be good. 5 minutes. It's just about time, but I'm going to finish reading my page. Okay, so it is just about 3:05, 3:06 actually. So I got to page 44 and the book is still good. First pages notwithstanding, I am liking the story. So I'm gonna put the book here just so you know what I'm talking about. So it's just more of the same. We're reading a little bit more of the progression of this young woman being encouraged to audition for things and her not wanting to because she's still grieving about the loss of her sister, who was her biggest champion and encourager and supporter. And now that her sister is gone, her mother could be that for her, except her mother has been grieving so many losses. The loss of her daughter being probably paramount, and so she's just like lost the will to do much. So we are reading about that in this section. One of the things that we found out on the first page that I read in this sprint was that the main character's background is exactly like the author's background, where her mother is Puerto Rican and her father is Dominican. It does say that he is Dominican. Here's how they say it. When Mammy meets Pappy at a small bar in Santurce on a hot Saturday night, Mammy finally knows that she's met her match. Abuela and Abuelo tell her to stay away from that, and there's a derogatory Spanish word. Stay away from that. Maybe uh, English form would be like hoodlum or something. She says that all Dominicans have Satan somewhere in their blood. So she doesn't say specifically he's from the Dominican Republic. She's just talking about him, and she says that statement that all Dominicans have that. That he's only there for the bad things, and she gets specific about what some of those bad things are. And she says, but Mommy risks it all, and she moves to New York with Pappy, to Washington Heights, to the land of drugs and rat feces and buses that break down in the middle of the street on a Friday night. And then she talks about how her mom has her sister, and what her sister is to her, what the sister is. The sister is Nena. What Nena is to Mami. So soon Mami gets pregnant with Nena, her sueñito americano, her little American dream. Then Mami gets pregnant with me, her amiguita jodida. Her playful little friend, or a little playmate. And then it says Mami Pappy cheats on Mammy, but Mammy stays strong. Pappy has another family, but Mammy stays strong. Pappy takes the money and runs, but Mammy stays strong. But then Nena dies, and Mammy has run out of all her strong, so Mammy dies too. Her body is alive and well. She's here, sitting next to me all the time, but her soul is gone. That's really good writing, I think. I like how expressive that is, how visual, like how vivid that is. Like, we instantly feel like we have seen this character, we've seen her family, we've seen her mother's character, Mammy, we've seen some of the things that she has endured as a woman who is an immigrant and comes to America with all these dreams, and she's attached her dreams to her relationship with her spouse. And so they are supposed to be dreaming together. They should be building together. They should be working on realizing this dream for themselves and for their family together. And then the father becomes unfaithful, and he doesn't just take himself away. He also takes the things that they have built together, which are represented by their shared finances, and he takes all of that and leaves. And the mother is strong through it all, but there are certain things that after when she has lost those things, she has just lost everything. um, there's a point where she's lost everything because her firstborn child was her American dream. And so when the daughter passes away, she has also lost the dream, but also the will to have another dream. So yeah, I feel like the writing is just strong enough and vivid enough that we can see these characters, we can see them fleshed out. And so I'm liking the book, man. I'm liking the book. So that's why that's why sometimes, even when I would be tempted to discontinue reading something, I want to push past the thing that makes me uncomfortable in the beginning, because sometimes if you persevere, you could find a good read. I just wish we didn't have to do that. Like, it could just be strong from page one. So that was my reading for today. The name of the book is My Train Leaves at 3. The author is Natalie Guerrero, and this was published by Penguin Random House earlier in the summer. So that's the author right there. She's a Dominican and Puerto Rican writer. She's based in Los Angeles, even though this book is set in New York City. So My Train Leaves at 3 by Natalie Guerrero, Caribbean author, Caribbean background, American Caribbean woman. And so I am going to try to finish this so I can tell you more about it. I think next time we come on live, I'm not going to read any more live, because I like in the live to be able to tell you what I'm reading. And I think after that page, because I got up to page 44. I got up to page 44. I think telling you too much more after that will maybe spoil your experience of the book when you read it yourself, because it's not a long book. It's a little less than 250 pages. So that was the first 1/5, almost thereabouts. So my Train Leaves at 3 by Natalie Guerrero. It's a novel. And it is blurbed by 4 authors who I'm not sure that I can pronounce their names. One of the authors who blurbs it is Tori Peters, who wrote Detransition Baby, which is about transgender people. And so seeing that blurb makes me think or know that there is going to be a strong LGBTQ presence in the book, representation. Xochitl Gonzalez is the author of Anita de Monte Laughs Last. I'm not familiar with that author, so I don't know what that says about the book. Another writer who blurbed the book is Chiara Alegria Hudes. She's a Pulitzer Prize winning playwright, and she's the author of My Broken Language. I think I read something from her for the BookTube Prize earlier. And John Manuel Arias, I feel like that should be Juan. John Manuel Arias, author of Where There Was Fire, also blurbs the book. So I'll put it up here just in case my pronunciation of those names is just so terrible and you don't know, you're not sure what I was saying. So those are the blurbers, and Xochitl's blurb is also on the front. So I think the cover is beautiful. I didn't mention this earlier, but I think this cover is really striking. We get a really interesting picture here, which feels very New York to me. Feels very New York. And I'm not sure what this address would be. West 4th Street? West something Street? 160th Street? I don't know. Because Washington Heights is, Washington Heights is above It's above 145th Street, or around 145th Street going north. So 150 something, 160 something, 170 something street would be Washington Heights area. But she works downtown, so I'm interested to see. I'd be interested to know what street number this is, because that tells you, of course, what neighborhood, what part of Manhattan is being focused here. Because this, I think, is the Washington Heights experience, which would be a 150s, 160s street number. Anyway, thank you so much to the publishers for having gifted me this book. I'm going to try to finish reading it, so that I'm not going to finish today, but I'm going to try to finish reading it and make a discussion video where I tell you probably a lot of what I just told you in the live, but condense it so it can fit in a video with a reasonable length, not too long, but long enough to cover the essential information. So thank you so much for being here today to just keep me company. If you weren't here for the lives a couple of times, yesterday and the one before, I talked about just not really being in my usual headspace, because I have been just consumed with thoughts about my family. My mom has been ill, and she's in the hospital. But last night I got some very encouraging updates, and we're hopeful that my mom is recovering. We're hopeful that she continues to get stronger and that she can make a full and speedy recovery. So today I feel a little better than I did yesterday. But I just want to thank everyone who has come on to the lives, come on and support. I thank you for your thoughts and your prayers and your support just by being here, allowing me to spend some time talking about something that I can I can be distracted by. So I'm not just sitting and thinking about my family. So thank you so much for being here. If you are watching this as a playback later on my channel, thank you so much for supporting my channel by your presence, by your engagement. If you haven't already done so, please give the video a thumbs up. Leave a comment, whether here now or on the playback. Leave a comment, boost the engagement so the video will be shared with other people. And I'll try to come on tomorrow. If I come on tomorrow, it will be earlier, because I have an event at my daughter's school around 1 o'clock tomorrow. So if I come on, it will be in the morning. It would be maybe between 10 and 11 thereabouts. So if you're able to join me tomorrow for a early lunchtime live, maybe like a brunch live or a breakfast live, that would be great. So I'll see you then. And until we come back for another video, another live, another discussion, enjoy your books. Happy reading. Hope you enjoy whatever it is that you pick up, whether you're reading for school, like Michael's A Little Library. Thank you so much for your comment. Or if you're reading for fun, or anything in between, whether it's print or text or audio, whatever you read, however you read. Happy reading. Bye. We're gonna get a little thumbnail.